Hello, welcome back. This is video number 2 in our customer support video series. This is the unboxing and getting started. Basically, I'm following the guide on the mini manual, which is located in the box. Okay, this is how you get started. We really encourage you to read this because otherwise it's a little confusing, I would think. Okay, the grinder itself is in the cotton carry bag. Take it out. There it is. And the handle is in the box under the flap, which is the dickens to get out, but
keeps it in place.
Keeps it in place so we don't scratch up the grinder. We won't need the box anymore. Okay, here's the handle. Inside the jar, there's the do not eat silicone dryer, the knob and a little paper. Knob simply goes on like that, and you'll see these
Dots.
Okay, don't throw the dots away. Please don't lose the dots, because these will be used in the future when you recalibrate zero after breaking the grinder in. After the burr breaks in a little bit, zero will change, and you need the dots to mark it. You can, of course, use a Sharpie, an arrow, or whatever your choice, but this is what we're including, is the dots, which are similar to the dot there. Okay?
Dot.
Set those aside and not lose them. Okay. Now to set up the grinder, very simply, we hold the locking disc still, and off goes what we're calling the reference disc, or the top disc. Put the handle on. Hold it. You have to hold the handle still, and you very gently and very carefully. Now, I have cross-threaded this because it's seized up. I'm being very quiet. You hear the click?
I did hear the click.
Okay, you turn it counterclockwise or to the left. That click is when the first threads match. It drops down. Now, if you watch the previous video, you'll know that there's a section that's not threaded. It's about 1 millimeter. And this helps to center. And once again, once you start, see, I got a good start that time. In the manual, the mini manual, we make a big deal. The first 2 paragraphs are about cross-threading, because it's really, besides putting the whole thing in the dishwasher, it's about the only way that you can really damage the grinder or harm the grinder is if you get hasty with that threading. Now, once I've put the handle on, I really don't ever have to take it off. Yeah, it really doesn't get substantially smaller without the handle.
And it fits in the bag with the handle on.
Yeah, it fits in the bag with the handle on, just so. So once you've done this, it's pretty much, you don't need to do it again. But as you could see, you get good at it after a little while. Taking it on. Okay. Now, once I've attached the handle, there's the issue of where am I in the grinding range. I've set the reference mark down on this end of the handle. This is just convention. I've gotten used to saying my zero is down here. That's where my zero mark is. The way you can tell zero is the handle falls freely, and there's little or no movement of the burr. And I didn't have it actually on zero. Now this is another good example.
You put the handle on backwards, didn't you?
Put the handle on the wrong way. So now
it works fine if you put it on that way. It's
if
just
that's
that
the way that you look
like
at things,
it the other way.
If that's the way that you look at things, and you remember, that's zero. So it's zero. Now, these markings This is half millimeter thread, okay? 0.5 millimeters pitch, which means that for every one revolution of this top system, the burr will move downward 1/2 millimeter or 500 microns, okay? On my 180, if I have it in that position, very simply, I lock this up against it. So what we're doing, this entire top makes for the adjustment system. And you're, in a sense, you're creating a handle sandwich with these two discs. But the two discs are tightened against the handle and they're locked in place. Now, if this is my zero, the big marks, I'm at 125, 250, 375, 500 microns, vertical burr movement. Okay, now, which is why I like the other. I've always done it this way, and it's my personal convention. If you know, you can have your own personal convention, but okay, go down until that one stops. Then I take this one down, set it at 0. There's no burr movement. So I have two things. The handle drops freely. See, there's a slight, this is 0. You think of those, and there's no movement when I pull up on the handle, okay? Drop test, handle pull test. We actually talk about that in the full manual, not the getting started manual, but that's basically the most important thing, is to properly install these discs. Now, when you use the grinder, let's give an example. I'm going to come up here, 125, 250, 375. The small marks are about 10 microns. All right, so I'll go 10. There's 85, 95, 405, 425. Now,
And then you turn the lock disc up
turn the
against the
lock
handle.
disc up against the handle, and you make the handle sandwich. You make sure everything is tight, and that's my robot espresso setting right there. If I want to make another change, so I hold the handle still and I break this one free. Now I can move this one down. I rarely need to go back to 0 and recount, but I just will for purposes. Now I turn the lock up against this, I lock this down, I'm now at 0. Handle drops, no movement, okay? So, break this free, I go in the C direction. One revolution, that's 500. There's 750. There's 1,000. 2 revolutions is 1,000 because it's a 0.5 millimeter pitch. Now I'm tightening the lock up against the handle, making sure these are snug. Now, this is 1,000 microns. If you take the estimate that I've read for a cone burr of this geometry, that the burr gap is about 60% of the vertical burr movement. So if I'm at 1,000, I'm approximately have a burr gap of approximately 600. So that's going to be like a fine pour over, okay? 600. If you want 700, you basically have to do the math to say how much vertical burr movement do I want to get that approximate burr gap. Then, of course, you have to dial in your shot. You have to dial in everything.
All the usual stuff.
All the usual. But at 1,000, as you can see, if you watch the previous video, there's a spring on top of the burr, okay? So at 1,000, I can pull it upward 1 millimeter. Okay, that's kind of how you test to see where are you. You know, because I can say, okay, that's a big gap. I've used this grinder for 10 months now, so there's a lot of things that are pretty much automatic that I do. And one is that I look and I say, what is it? Oh, that's 1,000. same thing. If I want to go down, I have to run the lock disc down, so I can move this downward. That's back to 500 and has a small movement, okay? Barb did a new drawing. She hasn't uploaded it yet, but she will. That kind of explains the function of the system. Is that it's a kind of a unitary system that you've got the reference disc, the top disc, the small one, the big disc we're calling the lock disc, and what we're doing is changing the axle length. We're making the axle a little longer as we move these discs around. Okay, and everything moves in one system. But she'll upload this just to help you understand. Now, I am at 500. I can look at this. I'm looking at the manual to see if there's anything I actually forgot. One thing is to make sure that you realize is that this entire top system will all turn together. And also the burr is turning, the axle is turning, everything's turning down through the grinder. I think I've talked about adjusting the grind. It's probably best that if you want to grind a few beans to get started, you'll do it at let's say 1,000 or 750, because it's a little easier to turn than it is on the espresso setting, and depending on your beans. And it also, grind a few beans, it lubricates the burrs and cushions them a little bit, gets it started. I want to point out how to manipulate the jar, that when you remove the jar, you pop it sideways and crack it off like that. And when you install the jar, you do the reverse, and you give it a little twist to make sure that it's seated. And once you have it in position, it's very, very difficult to pull it straight off. If you pull it straight off, you're going to throw your coffee all over the room. But you just crack. There you've got it. Back it goes. Okay? We do suggest that you can use the jar to weigh out your coffee beans and pour them in like that. You can use other weighing vessels as well. I think I pretty much covered everything to get you started. I don't think there's that much more to say. The next video, I'm going to talk about the recalibration for zero and give you some other little tips. So I think we're ready to
Ready to go.
on that one.